Welcome to today's episode of I'm 5 But. Now, this is our 6-month episode. So we have been running for 6 months now, and I have brought in a different type of guest for us. So for this first 6 months, we have had human beings with 2 X chromosomes. Today, I'm bringing you one that has a Y. Welcome to the show, Vern. How are you?
Thanks very much. Yeah, that's quite an intro, isn't it? I'm feeling the pressure of being the first anomaly on the list. So hopefully it'll be fascinating and appropriate in equal measure.
We have got many men that would like to come on the show. So you are just the first one. We've done that first 6 months of women, and we're bringing in a variety now. So please tell our listeners, Vern, who you are and what you do.
So my name's Vern Hill. I am a pre and postnatal PT by training and have been for 25 years nearly. And I founded a business called CariFit 11 years ago. So CariFit is a baby wearing fitness class. That's how we started life. We still teach our classes to this day, but the business has evolved quite a lot. We've worked quite closely with the NHS, with physio networks. We've had some studies done into CariFit. And we've designed and developed and now sell around the world our own athleisure baby carrier that also unlocks access to the CariFit app, which is a full suite of healthcare for new mums post-birth. So it's this kind of all-encompassing baby-wearing movement business now.
Amazing. That is so exciting. And I think somehow our paths have only just crossed in the last few months. To say that we are in the same field, we've not really crossed paths, have we? We only met a few months ago. And I think the big thing that struck me about CariFit is we were on a Zoom and we were all introducing the different things that we were doing because we were expert panels at Elevate. And I was sort of explaining baby beats, and we are predominantly supporting women postnatally with their recovery and, really looking at pelvic alignment and very gentle exercise. And I absolutely remember it so vividly that you said, I'm unapologetically a fitness class. And it really struck me that I was like, yes, well done, that you are. And you really owned that is what, this class was about. So take me back to the beginning of being a pre and postnatal PT. Is that where you started, or were you just a general PT?
So I did a sports science degree many years ago, and then went to work for a big health club chain. Part of my degree, I'd done pre and postnatal exercise. Nobody else at the gym was qualified in it. So anytime any members got pregnant, it was given to Vern because he's the only one that knows what he's doing, which was a total kind of anomaly back then. I mean, it was still very much at the early stages of training through your pregnancy, of pre and postnatal fitness, of all this kind of stuff. So that was unusual in itself. I think in a weird way that made it not unusual that I was a bloke that was qualified to do it, because nobody was qualified to do it. It was kind of a new and emerging bit of the fitness industry. And then after working at that health club chain for a while, opened up my own PT studio in South London. The focus there very much was on training you when you're pregnant, or bring your baby postnatal and we can have your baby at the gym. Because one of the big barriers to people having PT, particularly for those that perhaps didn't want to put babies in a creche and be apart from them, was you couldn't have your baby with you on the gym floor. So the gym was very much bring your baby. And as part of that, we used to wear our clients' babies in carriers. So rather than have little babies unsettled, apart from mum, crawling around the gym, we'd wear them in a carrier. Generally, babies would go to sleep, as most parents will understand. And so mum would have a less interrupted, lower stress workout, and therefore get more out of it and get better results and feel really great at the end of it. And CariFit, the workout methodology, kind of evolved from that. So I went very far down the baby wearing rabbit hole and have become somewhat of an expert in baby wearing itself, but also this idea of baby wearing movement and what that means and how you can do it. And CariFit kind of, as you said, rightfully, is unapologetically, it's a workout first. CariFit, CARI, stands for cardio and resistance intervals. It's how we program those 30-minute sessions that we deliver. And my whole thesis on it was, well, how far can we safely push a baby wearing workout to be both postnatal appropriate, medically approved, liked by physios who were deep skeptics early on, and mostly give mums that are really missing and craving that real workout feeling something that feels familiar, but is entirely appropriate, safe, and beneficial for where they're at on their postnatal journey. So that was how we set about formulating CariFit. So, and what we found with that is, yes, we get what I would say are kind of the mums that are really into their fitness and desperate to get back to working out, and it meets that need for them. And it really does, and it gets you really fit, CariFit. But actually, because of the baby wearing, because of the way it's programmed and it's accessible to all levels of fitness, we actually get people that perhaps haven't been huge lovers of group exercise before, and we open up this whole new world for them. And certainly what I've found over the last 20 years of really specializing in pre and postnatal is there's never a time that you're more interested in how your body works and what it needs than after having had a baby.
Yeah.
Because you've got to move. Your body's under pressure. It has changed in lots of ways. And so I think the one kind of odd advantage I had was there was no line of comparison to me. I hadn't gone through it, and therefore I could just program it based on the evolving kind of science of what we knew about what was good to do with a postnatal body, what was the journey that body needed to go on. So it was kind of that one step removed professional. And because I'd not gone through it myself, and I've watched my wife go through it twice, I could look at it slightly dispassionately and just sort of say, well, where can we take this? What can we do with it as a workout?
Wow. What did you say, 25 years ago when you started? It wasn't something that was done.
No, I mean, I think I've kind of lived and worked through the evolution of pre and postnatal fitness from the old school thinking of you're pregnant, put your feet up, why on earth would you want to do that? To the kind of, I think where we were probably 5 years ago, I can do anything immediately and it's going to be fine, to the now much better understood principles that govern, a healthy, safe pregnancy, adaptations that need to take place according to what you're into and what you do on a normal day-to-day basis. And I think where we are now is a really amazing place to be. The support that's out there, the things and the resources that have evolved and come up, the understanding around movement, around community, around the benefits of combining those two things, particularly for new mums from a mental health perspective, are better understood than ever. And it's been amazing to kind of be a small part of it, but also be there way before any of that happened, way before there was Instagram or TikTok or any of these things. I was just training pregnant mums to be in a gym in Epsom and making sure they felt all right and understood what was going on with their body. So yeah, it's been very, very fascinating to watch new mums to thrive through a pregnancy and after a pregnancy, and the role that activity, movement, exercise and community all play.
It's definitely becoming an exciting field to be part of. It was very specialist, like you said. When I first trained, it was just this niche that you were, you just had this really small group, and there was a lot of questions around it. Like, is that okay? Are we okay to do that? Are you sure that's okay? And I think, like you said, with the research that you've done, we've done quite a lot of studies on the social impact of it as well. It just gives you that much, not only validation for your program, but actually the positive effects that it's having on so many different lives, and the lives of the babies that have been born as well, that they're actually then growing up with mums that are fit and healthier.
And I think that's a really interesting bit. That's the next bit that will really evolve. We've now got children that are starting secondary school that did CariFit with their mum. Like, that is beyond cool, because lots of businesses don't survive that long, and that's really cool in itself from a sort of self-congratulatory pat on the back standpoint. But actually, what are those children turning out like? Are they naturally into being active? Are they healthy? Have they had really good role models at home? Have they got, this is where the baby wearing bit and the baby wearing science kicks in, have they got those really secure attachments? Have they got those really good kind of emotional anchors as children as they grow, because of those formative months spent moving with a parent in a carrier? Because we know that that's what happens. That science has existed since the 80s. That's really well researched. I mean, I've sort of said it for years, and I know I've said this to you, but a well, healthy, happy mum, that is the heartbeat of a whole family unit. if everybody understands that and can support that, the ripple effect, the knock on effect to other family members, to children is unbelievable and incredibly powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I think I know that in myself. Like if I'm in a bad mood, the whole of the house is in a bad mood as well. You know, so much it sits on my shoulders of how I wake up on a morning sometimes. So talk to me a little bit about being a man in this industry, because I think as a woman, there are certain things like when I talk on stage or I do panels and I talk a lot about my lived experience. And I think to some extent, our programs have grown from my own personal experience and what I needed. How have you found that as a man? Have you found it easier because you are slightly more removed, or have you had sort of pushback?
So I think it's both of those things have happened in truth. So very early on, it was a non thing. It wasn't an issue. It was a, you're suitably qualified, therefore you understand, and therefore you can train me. And there wasn't that comparison at scale that social media has given the world. So that there wasn't, you know, 100,000 lady pre and postnatal, inverted commas, experts online. There was one guy that was qualified to do it in a gym in Epsom, and that was your local person. So you went to them. So there was no comparison early on, and therefore it was that glorious sort of bit of, well, if you're qualified and capable and good at your job, you'll build clients and you'll go from there. And I've seen that kind of evolve to through the early bits of social media to the who the hell are you to be talking about this? What do you know? I mean, and my pushback always to that is, well, I know the science, expertise is expertise, qualifications are qualifications, and I've delivered over 30,000 hours of pre and postnatal fitness, which is probably more than a lot of people out there. That's just
Yeah.
because I'm quite old now. But I think experience, you can never have it when you start a career, but the quicker you can get it, the better you make use of qualifications of knowledge, because you start to recognize patterns, you start to recognize common themes, common challenges. And that was where CariFit was born. It was born to address a challenge. It was a business challenge for me. I wanted more mums in my gym and to know about my gym. How can I get more in there? Let's do a group class where we all wear our babies. Perfect. And then it was a meet a need for mums. Well, we want a real workout that makes us feel like us, gets us fit, gets us results, but is postnatal appropriate, doesn't require childcare, and I don't want to be apart from my baby, not even for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been, it's had its advantages and its disadvantages being navigating it all as a man. I think, or I would hope, that we're now in a place where if you're good at your job and you talk sense, people quite quickly recognize that. And
Yeah.
I would hope there's now kind of irrefutable proof that, you know, CariFit has been a net positive for a huge number, thousands, tens of thousands of people now, between live classes and our app that people use around the world. And therefore actually it doesn't really matter who came up with it. So you need the qualifications, you need
Yeah.
the knowledge, and then you need to go and get experience delivering this stuff and talking
Yeah.
to people and being around people. And I think if anybody were ever to pay me a compliment, if they said I was highly competent, that would, I think, be the best compliment I could be paid in a CariFit context, certainly in terms of teaching a class. In terms of running a business that's changed out of recognition from the original idea, perhaps I'm not competent in all areas, but I have wonderful people that work in other areas of the business that are way better at things than I am. So I think it's been a really interesting and fascinating journey. When it all started, social media wasn't a thing. So I mean, I think, you know, if you were trying to step into that space as a man now from cold, perhaps that would be a different experience. But certainly it's a field that I feel unbelievably privileged. I fundamentally always come back to that principle of, you know, a world full of strong, mentally and physically strong mums, that if we really want to change the world and make it a better place, that's where we start.
Yeah, I think it's such a privileged place to be in. And we say it all the time to our teachers, and, you know, they say it as well, that it's such a really special time, challenging time, a unique time in a woman's life. And to be part of that it is a privilege. It's a massive privilege. And going back to you saying about, just standing in front of the class, it really doesn't matter gender. And I think, things have moved on for the better, but I do think you are right in terms of social media and the backlash that you can get off faceless keyboard warriors. And I think as long as you can stand in front of a class and you are a personable person, you are knowledgeable, modifications, adaptations, you know how to deliver it. There is nothing else that you need apart from that, do you? It's all about the personality and the knowledge and creating a safe space as well.
I think the safe space thing is really key, and that comes down to that competency bit. If people, the second they're under your care, which is a huge trust, and that's where the privilege lies, that they've put their trust in you. If they feel calmed by your competency, they will enjoy whatever you're about to ask them to do. They'll trust the process, and hopefully from a business point of view, they'll come back many, 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 many times and make the business sustainable and well thought of.
So talk to me a little bit about the business side, because I think your business journey has kind of gone on similar to ours, where you start off with this one concept that you want to do, and then it almost intentionally but kind of unintentionally snowballs into something else, because you've gone from creating a gym PT space into a class, into then having your own carrier, which is a huge achievement in itself, and then into an app as well. So just explain to me all those different elements and how they kind of came about.
Yeah. So the gym was a natural evolution, as lots of PTs did back then. Work for a gym, go freelance, set up your own business. I was very lucky to find a cheap warehouse sort of space in Wandsworth and just go for it, which was great. And I went for it with 40 clients already on the books, so it was a fairly safe move. CariFit then, as I say, came about as a way to engage with more mums. It became a kind of baby wearing fascination behind the science of baby wearing. At the time, Polly had just had our daughter, Florence, and then quickly followed by Felix. So I was baby wearing myself, and the practicalities of it were amazing. The feeling I used to get was amazing. I was like, this is like double win. If exercise makes you feel good and baby wearing makes you feel good, imagine if you smash those two together. This is going to make you feel amazing. Yeah. So that was the class bit, and then we tried it and we tested it, and we had the first independent evaluation of it done, and then we created a free program for the NHS, which was amazing, sort of learning curve and the hoops you had to jump through in 2018 to create something that the NHS would signpost were spectacular. In the background of that, we'd been approached by a huge global baby wearing brand called Ergo Baby to use their products in our classes and content and recommend them in the very sort of early days of those kind of strategic partnerships. And we worked with them for 4 years. But going down the baby wearing rabbit hole, seeing and understanding how babies position, how bodies react to movement in a carrier, the kind of support that parents need if they're going to be more active in a baby carrier than just mooching around the shops or walking down the road. We, and I say collectively we, because, at this point, CariFit was a team of us. We always had this unbridled ambition, could we create our own high performance athleisure baby carrier? If Lululemon and Nike got together and decided to make a baby carrier, what would that look like, kind of thing? And that became the CariFit. So we lent hard into fabric technology. We did loads of testing and research. We could move things much quicker because we had lots of people come into classes. So anytime we wanted to try something, or can you five wear this and give us feedback immediately? We didn't have to organize groups or discussions. We took stuff to class and said, try this on, please.
Yeah.
And then the app really kind of was born out of lockdown. So we were very, very lucky in lockdown, and sorry if lockdown drags up horrible memories for people, but we were very lucky that we'd not long before lockdown launched a first online version of some CariFit home workouts and a sort of program you could follow on the back of the NHS stuff. So there was a little bit of physio in there for the first sort of 6 or 8 weeks. There was a core program, and then there was loads of different baby wearing workouts that you could choose from to do. And it was a really kind of quite clunky, quite kind of 2019 online course, which we'd launched because we increasingly had people on social media. This is the good side of social media, discovering us and saying, where can we do these? And we only taught our classes in London. We still only teach our classes in London at a handful of places. So it's a way to reach more people. And the app really is a kind of enhanced, personalized version of that journey. Personalized in so much as we have this huge content library, and it only pulls in the bits that are relevant to you based on a load of inputs that you give it at the start. How was your baby born? What are you training for, etc., etc. And so yeah, we've now kind of ended up with this crazy business of, we still teach our classes in the same places at the same leisure centre in Balham, and yeah, it's become this kind of, I won't quite say unruly beast of a business, but it's become a very different business. But everything drives back to that common unifying thought of, is this going to help to make a new mum feel stronger, more capable, more connected? And if it is, we're going to try and do it. So that's what the app does. That's what the carrier does. It makes you feel, our carrier literally makes you feel more comfortable when you move with your baby. Versus that's the whole design remit.
I just love that you've had that evolution as well, that it starts as one thing. It's something that I really think it's so similar to our story as well, that it's just one thing that it just organically evolves, doesn't it? You're like, this is brilliant. Now it's going to evolve into this and into this. And has there been any points where you've sort of gone, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? How did it get here?
Daily. I mean, I kind of joke with everybody. My favorite 4 hours of the week, every week, are the 4 hours I still get to walk into a gym and teach CariFit. And I used to teach about 20 hours of CariFit a week, and now I teach 4. But they are my favorite hours. Every hour of every week is literally my happy place, where I feel, I can be having a rubbish day and go and teach a CariFit class and come out feeling amazing. Never mind what the participants feel. And I think, as much as the business evolution has been planned, and I'm incredibly proud of everything we've done, large parts of that business aren't my natural wheelhouse. I'd never worked with overseas suppliers and done distribution and, imports and export, so I think the key thing for me from a business point of view was, I very quickly realized that if I didn't get out of the way of certain aspects of the business, I'd be the problem. So actually it's a willingness to hand stuff over to people that are better at it than you, to understand as a founder you can't do everything, and actually your time is not well spent doing things you're not good at. Concentrate on the things you are better at and that you enjoy more. I love being in person. I love talking. This has probably become very apparent in the last 29 minutes for people. But I love talking about CariFit, about postnatal fitness, about baby wearing. I do it on stages at all the baby shows we go to. I love when we exhibit at all the baby shows, baby and toddler shows. It's absolutely brilliant. I love meeting people, chatting with them. That is who I am as a person. That's the PT I chose to be. The rest of it is kind of a series of very committed, as in we committed fully to them, happy accidents. And also just a willingness to risk it and try stuff. I think there's a willingness to risk stuff and commit fully to those risks, and always with that same North Star. Is this actually going to help a mum move more and feel a bit better during this time of great change?
Yeah, and it's your core values as a founder, something that we talk a lot about. What is your core values? And when it deviates from that, that's when you start to feel that disconnect from your business. And I really resonated with what you've just said about learning as a founder to not do everything. It's something that I've had to step back with quite recently, because I was like, okay, these are not my areas of expertise. And I am stubborn and I want to do everything, and I want to do everything really well myself. And realizing that actually other people can do it better than you, and your time is exactly like you've just said, I much prefer to be on a stage or speaking, exactly the same as you, in front of people. I am not great at sitting behind a desk just doing strategy meetings. And I'm like, let's just go, let's do the fun part. So I think that's recognizing that as a business owner as well. And I think even if we've got, smaller businesses that are listening and it's just you on your own, still outsourcing is really key sometimes to developing your business, and giving into your stubbornness just a tiny little bit.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I think there is with CariFit, and I think this to anybody that is growing a business, the second you doing a task is not as valuable as you doing a task you're really good at. Try and find somebody else to do it if you can, if the business can support it, because actually you are the founder, rightly or wrongly, always to a point, and there becomes a point of scale where you're not the most valuable asset the business has, but lots of businesses never get there or don't want to get there. The second your time and your expertise is, doing things that somebody else could do much quicker and potentially better or at a lower cost, freeing up your time from a business perspective, whilst it is, as you just said, Rose, it's hard to let go. Most of us founders are to a degree kind of control freaks, and it's good. You want to know
Yeah.
everything about your business, but knowing it and understanding the process doesn't mean you have to do the delivery of it. And it is hard to let go, but it's a really game changing thing when you do. And it's immensely rewarding to see a business move forward or a project accelerate because you've been willing to say, well, that's going to take me months and I'm not very good at it. Let's get somebody that can do it way better, way quicker.
So if we've got anybody listening, Vern, that is thinking they'd love to start something up in whatever field, that they're thinking interests them, as a business owner, as a founder, have you got one golden nugget of advice that you wish you'd have known before you started?
I think I've probably got two things that I would say. Number one is if you've got an idea that just won't stop nagging at you. CariFit for me was that idea, and it actually took my wife saying to me, either shut up and never mention it again or do it. Because I'm so bored of you just talking about this great idea you've got.
Yeah.
So if you've got an idea that you keep coming back to, that you think there might be something here, I could lean into this, I could turn this into something, go for it. Because the truth is, nobody cares if you go for it. You'll be the only person that's disappointed or even knows that you didn't. So I would say, go for it. And then some kind of backing that up a little bit, as soon as you decide to go for it, get a few trusted people that you can bounce stuff off. I think founder life is really lonely at the start. Often you might have gone from working in a bigger business or working with lots of people around you where ideas and conversations are bouncing around and popping off all day long, to suddenly being consumed with this idea you have to make work on your own. And it can be really lonely. And actually having one or two people to bounce things off, to chat to check in with, I think can be immensely liberating, kind of mentally, because otherwise
Yeah.
it's lonely. I was very, very lucky with CariFit that I had a couple of people that there was never just me involved. There was always somebody doing something else because I was always kind of on to the next idea. Could we do this next? And I was very lucky to have a couple of sort of mentor-y style figures that I could always just ring up and just say, look, think this might be the next thing. Could be a good idea, could be absolutely terrible. In the end, we sort of coined a term amongst us all that we'd have a regular check-in and we'd go panning for gold, because most of what I said was absolute shit. But every now and then in there was a nugget of gold. And actually, if you dump it all on the right ears, they'll help you pan through for the good bit. And you can ignore all the absolute dirt that you're throwing into the pan alongside it. So what I would say is don't get caught in the kind of lonely founder trap, because it's not a great place to be.
Yeah, I can really I think 100% that's such an important thing to have, is just to have that network of people around you, because it can be a really lonely place and you can talk yourself into or out of all different ideas depending on the mood that you're in. And just to have
Yep.
somebody else to bounce things off is a really important thing to have. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And, I know we are a female-driven podcast, and to be the first man that comes on, it must have been a little bit scary when I sent you a WhatsApp and was like, by the way, you're going to be the first guy, but thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Let's hope the social media comments are kind on the back of it when it goes out. I'm sure they will be. Fingers crossed, he says nervously.
I'm sure they will be. Can you let everybody know who is listening where they can find you online so they can come and connect?
Yeah, so the CariFit website is simply Get CariFit. It's CariFit.com. And our Instagram is a great place to go. We're very cool. We've got a blue tick and everything. We got a blue tick when blue ticks were still important. We're well cool, which is just CariFit. But yeah, do come and check us out. If you've got any questions or baby wearing questions, always drop us a DM and we're happy to have a human reply with an answer.
Well, thank you so much, Vern, for coming on today.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
You've just listened to I'm Fine But. If you're unsure about business or what really matters to you right now, why not take our free core values course? It's linked in the show notes and it's a brilliant place to begin. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and you can follow us online at all your favourite social media platforms at Baby Beat UK. Until next time, I'm Rose and I'm fine. But honestly, we're all just figuring it out.